Welcome in, everyone. Once again, this is your host, Caleb Schilke. And if you're watching this, you guys have either been here before and know that this is the Ascended podcast, or you're here for the first time and you have no idea what to expect, which today, honestly, is fine because I'm not going to be talking about anything that's building from before. I want to be talking about something that applies to your everyday life. I want to talk about history first. And historically, revolutions have always begun with ideas. Today, we're going to be talking about the idea of human agency and how that works with automated systems, with AI, with technology becoming more and more diverse, different, and transformative than has ever been at a point in history before. To any revolution, right? The Stone Age, the Industrial Revolution, anything in between, leading up to the technology era today. So today, they start really in your brainwaves, in the patterns of thought, revolutions that we're experiencing and will experience in the days forward are going to start from ideas that people share. And we're already starting to see that. How do we begin this discussion? Well, today I want to start by saying that we live in an era where machines are always set right now to optimize your productivity, where ChatGPT is always trying to give you the most efficient, effective answer. Sorry for my slip there. But often at the cost of agency, creativity, and probably even freedom or sovereignty, as we'd say now. We're essentially trading in our ability to think freely to have the answers handed to us and trust that that's the best path forward, which naturally, right, if you want to rely on someone else to solve your problems or something else, in this case, you're going to have to give up your own ability to think that you know what's best for you. So you're going to trade in that agency. And so today's discussion is going to really tackle that point. What's happening? What's actually going on? And what's not being discussed? And how do you fight back without being sidelined in this revolution? So let me first adjust my lighting here. My light a little, there we go. Should be better. Does that look better, you guys? Awesome. So what's going on in this information warfare? Because that's really the era we live in today, and that's the prevalent fight that we seem to be engaged in. It's not an old, charging bayonets, country versus country. It's a ideology versus ideology. It's a religion versus religion. It's a political group or movement versus another one. And more importantly, it's the future against the present. And those who choose to adapt and to push humanity forward, regardless of if that's good or bad, and the people who decide that that's too much and they'd rather stay put. All of these are noble fights, depending on what side you choose to fight on or what you believe in. But today, and to understand any of these issues, we have to go back to what it means to have attention, what it means to give a damn about something. Attention spans and the things we care about, right, are directed by our attention and how focused we can be on a task. That can mean literally how successful you win the war of business and how much money you make is linked to your ability to pay attention to an issue on your computer, to solve a line of code, to handle a client, to follow up on conversations. There's a lot of days where I have clients and I don't even want to respond to them. I love you guys, but it has nothing to do with you. It's just that I'm tired. I don't want to have that extra thread open. I have other stuff going on, but I made a commitment to serve people, just like I did with the military. Being able to lock in and dial in my focus, even though it's not what I want to do, shows discipline, and that skill is valuable. But nowadays it's slipping. Attention spans have plummeted from 2.5 minutes in 2004 to 47 seconds today, the average. So if you think about it, right, 2.5 minutes is 150 seconds versus 50. So less than a third of our attention span remains from 20 years ago. Many believe it's 8 seconds. Like the true attention before other things start creeping in, that you can remain purely focused is 8 seconds, which is shorter than a goldfish. A goldfish can pay more attention than you can, but that myth obscures deeper issues of fragmented consciousness. Do your research on what consciousness truly is, because it's not just being awake and being aware. Consciousness has everything to do with your body's alignment in the position in space, in the universe, and the connection you have to wavelengths, frequencies, patterns of energy. You guys think these are very abstract, like hippie concepts, right? But anybody that's successful in business, if you sit down with them, and I have, and you go into a bar, if you go into a speakeasy, whatever it is, and you have a drink together, and you'll get one of us to open up, one of these business people, we're going to tell you that the first way to make a lot of money is to understand that the world doesn't work the way you think it does. What you see is not always how it is, right? In fact, you're looking at me wearing a black shirt with a black background. Actually, let's use a different color. Let's use purple. This is even easier. This can is purple, but it's not. In fact, this can is everything but purple. And if you don't know that science lesson, then here it is. You see every wavelength of color. Your eyes interpret every wavelength of that spectrum except for purple. And therefore, your brain fills in that this is a purple can because, it's essentially deduced that that's the only logical explanation for it. And therefore, we see this color, but in reality, we're seeing everything but this. This is the thing that's getting left out of the wavelengths of color. So really everything is exactly what it isn't if you think about it. So the world is really, why wouldn't it work the same, right? Why wouldn't everything around us really just be the result of what's remaining from everything that it isn't? And I know that's such a meta concept to grasp, but that's one of the first lessons that the true rich are taught very, very early on, I want you guys to be kind of aware of. Paying attention to the details and asking a question of, why is this the most valid path? Well, it's because the real good paths have been taken. And so naturally, unless you have some insane competitive advantage or insanely rich and connected families, if you don't have that head start, well, then the path that's in front of you is not actually the best path. It's the result of all the other good paths being taken, and you're left with what's left, which is seemingly the ideal route that everyone seems to talk about. Go to college, get a job, work your way up the chain. Well, if this can is purple because I see every color but purple, and this can is technically literally every wavelength of color except for purple, and therefore it looks purple. Well, then how about the route of going to college, working your ass off, getting a mortgage, getting in a debt trap, and working until you die? That seems ideal. How do you know that's ideal? If that's the most common route, how do you know that's not just because every other more popular route is taken by people that have better focus, better parent relationships, better social connections, better networks than you, that have stolen all the good paths to wealth? That is the first lesson that you must truly grasp if you want to make it to the other side. I'm still not there yet, guys. I'm acting like I'm all high and mighty. I'm just a couple steps ahead of you. I've just realized this and I'm starting to take actions with it. And I'm telling you guys, this is the amazing feeling, because you start to realize that, hopefully this is on and working, but you start to realize that when you understand how the world truly works, and you can get conspiratorial and be like, who really runs the world and all that. You don't need to get into that right now. I'm just saying, if you understand that this can is everything but purple, and therefore you see purple, you can take that logic and apply it anywhere else. Well, if everyone is talking about crypto only when it's hot, well then right now would be the time to buy crypto, because the price is going up, but nobody's talking about it. So if everyone talks about it in the fall, that's because it's probably the least desirable path, and therefore it's only become popular because by that point it's so used up, it seems like everyone's just trying to make money using you as their exit liquidity, if you know what I'm saying. So the best time to buy crypto is right now, which is why I keep preaching it, because in the fall, I guarantee you, you can write down my words on a piece of paper, I will sign it, you can mail it to me, if you guys know where to find me, and I will sign it as a sworn oath that I would put all my money, and I am, on the fact that crypto is going to go up this fall, that you're going to see a massive spike. And if you buy anything of crypto right now, especially some of the altcoins, like Bitcoin might go down eventually a little bit and then come back up in the short term, but you're going to see a massive spike this fall because nobody's talking about crypto. But according to the 4-year cycle, everyone's going to see it spike this fall. You might even see NFTs come back because now there's actually a use for it, right? We put the cart before the horse with NFTs, and we said, well, why do we need a token that can be linked to the blockchain that can verify that a picture or a video or something actually is real, tangible, made by the owner? And we're like, that's a stupid concept. Nobody needs to verify that they own a picture. Okay, perfectly logical, right? Well, let's look 2 years after NFTs, when AI comes up, when people have 5 fingers or 6 fingers, sorry, instead of 5, and everyone laughs. They're like, oh yeah, it's such a fake photo. But now, how do you know what you're seeing is AI versus real anymore? You see how it's getting harder and harder to recognize what's AI generated versus human generated? Well, what if we had something to tokenize photos on your phone? What if when you took a photo, it got stored on the blockchain? And therefore, people could look it up and be like, oh, this actually did come from your phone. This is a actual taken photo from your device. And it's not fake because it's logged to your device. Well, maybe that was the use, but NFTs came about too soon that nobody saw the true value until AI made it a problem. It was a vitamin and not a painkiller because the pain wasn't real, because people weren't getting deep faked online yet, but now they are. And so therefore, if you use your logic to deduce the real things about the earth and say, if this is everything but purple, if the best thing to do is what nobody's talking about, right? Nobody talks about doing the hard things as much. You see it in some niche communities, right? But everyone's talking about Love Island and shit. But of course, that's not the best way for you to level up in life. That's just the most popular one because it's the most pleasurable. And most people don't want to do what's hard. Same way, right? If you look at the things that nobody's talking about, it's usually where the truth is hidden. Truth is hidden in the redacted lines, literally in documents and figuratively in life. When you look at what's not being mentioned, but what you know has value, that's exactly when you put your money there, you're going to be rich. And I'm telling you guys, buy crypto right now. Let me get back to my point. Professor Linda Stone dubbed this continuous partial attention, right? This, what we call ADHD, where we think we're just diagnosed with something. We think something's wrong with us. We have to rush to the doctor to get a prescription because we think that, we're just broken inside, right? I see that all the time. In reality, it's just a state of constant scanning with impaired decision-making and cognitive capacity, because you're short-circuiting yourself on your phone, on social media algorithms where you're swiping all the time. You're frying your receptors to say, hey, I want to really interpret and deep critical think about what this video, what this information is telling me. And instead, you're looking for a way to swipe. You do it with your finger, right, on your phone. But now when you talk to people, when you're on the phone, when you have to sit quietly, you're looking for a way to swipe and it's not there because you're used to that reaction. It's a trained subconscious behavior now from almost all of you. And when you don't have that, you think something's wrong with you. You think you can't sit still. You think you need medication. You think you need to be numbed. Well, in reality, if you just stop fucking watching TikTok, all of your problems would go away. You're looking for a solution, but the real answer is in what you're not realizing. You're not realizing that ADHD isn't something that you have. It might be a result of what you've done, but it's not something that you were born with or fated with. It's something that is temporarily showing in your actions, but is not permanent. Because I guarantee if you put the phone away, the thing you're not seeing and the thing you're looking for is what to call it, what to label it. But the answer's in front of you. It's putting your phone on the floor. I just chucked it across the room and you can get to work and you guys aren't looking in the right spots. And so this intentional designer's edge is you don't just slide, right, to fix this. You have to focus, clarify your mind or risk being optimized out. When AI is helping people lock in, the people that actually give a shit, the people that don't have those distractions and they're dialing in more than you, you're going to be effed. This 2025 might be one of the last years where you can actually escape the matrix. If you're paying attention and you're actually dedicated to something. If not, if you think you want to just watch TikTok, even if it's just 5 minutes, that's going to add up. And trust me, you don't want the life that it leads to if you let it. I'm going to reframe this AI debate, but first I'm going to take a sip of this drink because I've been now subconsciously training myself to hold this and I want to drink it now. Bubbly's so good. It says natural flavors, but I'm wondering if there's not sugar in bubbly. So I wonder how did they get bubbly to taste the way it does? I don't actually know. It just says no calories, no sweeteners, all smiles, but doesn't Coca-Cola own bubbly or am I tripping? Who owns bubbly? I forgot. I know Coca-Cola bought Poppy, I think, right? Or Pepsi bought Poppy. One of those big companies bought Poppy, which does have sugar, but it's like the artificial sucralose. But yeah, oh yeah, Pepsi owns Poppy. So you're telling me this has no sugar, nothing bad for me in it? I feel like, I don't know. I don't see anything. But I guess for now, I'll believe that it's good for me and I'll keep drinking it because it tastes damn good. All right, let's get back into it. Generative AI represents not incremental change. It's a qualitative shift forcing us to redefine what agency means in work and creativity. Not agency like I have an ad agency. Agency in terms of how one person operates. What is my scope of work? Empirical research shows that even though AI assists with things, humans still command higher levels of perceived creativity and authorship. TLDR, AI is good, but you're still better. Philosophically, we resist technological determinism, the idea that technology alone dictates social change by asserting creative deviation, a form of willful human rebellion against algorithmic inertia. I know people, you probably know people, maybe it's you, that, as much as you think AI can make funny videos, part of you is still resistant to it, right? Because you feel like you don't want that to take over the social connection you have. All of us, right? We love AI, but at least somewhat, I would say for 99% of us, we feel a little bit inside of I'm uncomfortable with the fact that this is happening. Fallacy, right, is that tech will replace us. In reality, it's going to replace those who can't wield it. It's not necessarily going to be the quick takeover like Terminator we're thinking in 6 months. Probably not. I hope not, unless they're working on things behind the scenes. Difference is you need to learn to wield it because mastery will always beat passive consumption. If you can partner with AI, like we've done with Ascend, right? You create your business spaces. You bring AI in to run an agency, a coaching business, to automate your tasks for you. Literally partnering with AI to not just give you the answers, but also do work for you. And it's insane which business you can achieve, how much money you can make if AI is telling you the next tasks. It knows your business, it knows your revenue, your stats. I literally just took ChatGPT to make it, and obviously there's a lot more work than this, but I plugged it into my website, Ascend, and I made a product that essentially tells you guys what to do to make money constantly. And it holds all your clients, it holds your info, and it's insane. So you need to learn to wield it and you will make insane things happen in your life too. I want to talk about some lessons of history. In 1968, the Cybernetic Serendipity exhibition in London demonstrated that humans and machines could co-create art and not conflict. This comes from the Australian magazine. Composer Oliver Messiaen wrote his masterpiece in a Nazi labor camp, arguably the most oppressive context imaginable, and declared himself free because creativity thrives in constraint, not chaos. I said constraint weird, constraint. And I want to let you guys know that creativity is a human concept. AI can learn creativity, but in reality, its creativity is just based on things it knows humans do that it can extrapolate. You know what extrapolate means, right? It means I give you 1 through 10. You're going to assume that number 11 would be outside of that data set, but a real number. I go count from 1 to 10, and I'm like, what do you think comes next? And you have to use the numbers I gave you, 1 through 10, to extrapolate and say, well, based on this information, I'm going to assume the next number would be 11 because of context and what I seem to know. AI is doing the same thing. AI is saying, Well, I know pointillism exists. I know abstract art exists. I don't know. I'm just trying to give you like what I know about art to sound cultured, but I don't know too much about painting. But I giving you all the styles of art. Can you extrapolate based on all the stuff humans have created and things that you know would be meaningful pieces of artwork to create something of your own? And AI says, yes, I can do that. I can at least take an educated guess at what humans would like, given the most famous pieces that exist, given what's popular, given messaging that seems frequent in art. So modern philosophical theories describe creativity as a deviative responsiveness. So humans' capacity to intentionally break norms and invent new affordances, not just follow algorithmic paths. That is what creativity is. So it's taking the pattern, right? Not just identifying it, but then extrapolating beyond that to say, this would be a powerful message. And if I can convey it through arts, it would be good. AI is learning how to do that too, because it knows the knowledge part and it knows what type of art stands out. So it's starting to be better and better at extrapolating that to match the messaging to the style and create really good artwork. And I think you'll see that compete with people eventually, but humans are still better because humans understand other people's emotions better. AI doesn't understand emotions as well as we do, and therefore we have the advantage. I want to talk about how do you be creative? How do you make money? And how do you still survive and even thrive in today's day and age? Well, you need one thing really. Well, it's a couple things, but broken down into one big concept. We need a system. We can't just hustle anymore. You know, John Henry, I told the story, right? He was I think a rail stake driver where you like put stakes in to make railroads and stuff. And a machine was invented that could do the same thing. And he said, you know what? I'm going to compete against this machine. And so he did. And he actually won. But the second after he won, he collapsed to the ground. He had a heart attack and he died. So he proved that a human could still beat a machine, but at what cost? Cost of losing your life to being overworked? No, it's actually clearly proven there that machines can out-labor a human, but humans still win at having the skill and technique to make it happen. He could drive in a stake more accurately. He had the skill, right? He had more adaptive features. He had better bodily function. He had better control than a wonky machine. Because humans made machines. They weren't perfectly created. Whether or not that's religious and you say God or whatever entity made you perfect, or you just say we've survived thousands of years. So clearly humans have evolved to be very functional and therefore we have an advantage. Hustle is reactive. Just working hard isn't going to get you there. You have to have a system and a command center. And so what I did is said, why don't we take the labor of AI working to solve problems, right? To reduce the amount of thinking that has to go into it, to identify patterns based on logic and based on the ways of thinking that you have. Basically, take your mind and take the ways you solve problems, and then it's still your creativity, right? Because it's your thought patterns and logic solving the problem. But AI is going to take that and replicate it. It's going to brute force its way through as many problems as possible until it figures out the best path and kind of scores that and recommends things to do. So I took that concept and built it into an actual digital platform. If you look up ascendagency.io, that's our website. We're not fully live yet, but we're going to be very soon. And it's pretty much 90% built. But Ascend is a purpose-built operating infrastructure. And we said there's so many ways you can manage your business. We have everything in one place, right? We have a place to add clients, a place to chat with your clients, a place to share files with your client, to collect payment, to schedule meetings, all the things a normal coach or agency would do, that anything you need, right? A CRM basically, but insanely advanced. And then we said, let's have AI do these tasks once it learns how to text like you, once it learns what the customer needs, once it figures out and analyzes the way your customers talk to you and kind of what their needs are. And based on way more iterations of human interaction than you have probably, because AI is connected to everything, it can deduce probably more accurate right now than you can, the best step forward. And you can train it in your style of communication, of logic, whatever it is, but AI is still going to do the day-to-day coaching and the day-to-day follow-up that you would have to do. And so for the first time ever, you have this business, right, where you can run a full agency, but not have to deal with clients really. AI is doing the work, it's fulfilling, and you're actually getting paid more money because AI is making the value higher by responding whenever the client needs it. And why wouldn't you want that? So Ascend is purpose-built as an operating infrastructure, not just another distraction dashboard. For the first time ever, AI can do work for you. It's autonomous and it can solve problems on your behalf. You don't have to pay thousands of dollars like you would for a VA. Data abundance isn't an advantage. I know that all these platforms, right, where you get overwhelmed if you use WAP or Kajabi or Discord. It's like all these features to host people and communities and clients. They're way too overwhelming. So I said, let's create a simple, very minimal button dashboard. That's what Ascend is. It has just the bare minimum to get the job done, and then AI works everything behind the scenes. And so you can see everything clearly. Your brain doesn't get overwhelmed. You see all your clients neatly listed. You see all your money, all your payments coming in, all your messages, all your calendar and stuff. And AI does the work to actually fill those gaps. And true creators usually 10x their impact through our workflows, our digital products, and compound community focused stuff, not just one-on-one alone. If you guys don't want to use the platform and pay for it yet, there's a free link in my bio where you guys can check it out and still test the beta. And I'm obviously at my base camp, my free spot where you guys can come and interact with each other and just have a network of people trying to get better if you don't want to use the software yet. And so most platforms will displace your sovereignty. You're going to have to spend so long learning how to use it. You're still going to have to do a lot of manual labor. You're going to have to design the logos. You're going to have to chat with everybody. You're going to have to design the structure. With us, it's plug and play. You can get started and literally start making money the same day. AI actually gives you daily recommended tasks based on how much money you're making, what's set up on our platform, what needs to be done. And you take that and run with it. You cross off what AI tells you to do, and you'll be guaranteed to make money. Basically, because that's the goal of the algorithm, is figure out where you're at, what needs to be set up to get you making money. And then it recommends tasks that you can check off, usually between 3 and 5 a day, that keeps the ball rolling. So you're not constantly trying to plan strategy. I've coached so many people, guys, that I have the game plans already down. So I program the logic behind the AI so I can help 1,000 of you at one time. And you don't have to pay me hundreds of dollars a month or thousands of dollars. So AI recenters your clarity and your symmetry. You don't just use it, you command from it, and it does the work. You don't have to manually grind away to get your first 10 clients like it used to be all of history. No, you just put AI on it and you tell it what to do. And you can transfer my knowledge. I can help coach you to set it up and to interact with your clients better. Or you can just transfer the knowledge of the skill you want to teach on there. Maybe it's basketball coaching. Maybe it's fitness tips. Maybe it's dating advice. Maybe it's a marketing agency, whatever that stuff's going to be. I want you guys to pick one real vertical. To get started to make money, you have to pick a field, right? Pick something you can teach or service, something that's smart, something that's repeatable, and most importantly, something that always has a need. In my case, it was teaching coaches how to coach better. I didn't just teach dating. I taught coaches how to coach because I went to the Air Force Academy, a position in an institution where leaders are made. I got some of the best knowledge on how to be a top tier A+ leader in the field. And I've taken that knowledge and with a consulting capstone that I also completed in college with my major, I focus that into a consulting career field. And so I've started this business helping coaches make more money, interact more efficiently, automate their processes. And I've done that for real businesses too. You can look at my background. And we've made money building now a platform that can do that for you without me having to sit down directly with you. And you can use that to power your own clients and make yourself look like the expert. If you reinvest your early wins into infrastructure, your brand, your audience, and you build a platform like with Ascend that's very cheap and you can host infrastructure and help people find you and exist, well, then you're going to make insane moves happen. This is the same blueprint I used to launch Ascend and to get my first few coaching clients, not from buzz, but from discipline, clarity, and leverage. I actually went in figuring out how I could solve real issues and recommending things to clients. And when they realized, hey, this guy's actually calling out real issues with my business and he's giving me recommendations to fix it, that's where value is made. You can do that without ever being paid. And people will come back to you and want more of that. That's what my platform does to you. It looks at where you're at. It recommends things that are actually useful. And hopefully you guys stay with the platform and hopefully it takes you to the moon and back because you for once have somebody in your corner whenever you need it. And you only have to pay a small subscription fee to make that happen. It's even free to get started. So if you guys are ready for sovereignty, right? Having AI do work for you so you can coach your clients, you can run an agency while you sleep. If you don't want distraction, if you don't want to feel like you're just jumping between a million different side hustles, crypto, NFTs, e-commerce, dropshipping, stock trading, all this stuff, and you want one dedicated business that you can invest in for the long term, make 10K, 30K, coach 1,000 people at $200 a month for clients and have AI do all the work and make $200,000 a month instead of maxing out at 20K as a coach, well, then there's only really one place to do this. And it's using AI leverage and our platform Ascend to make it happen. Again, I want to invite you guys to join, to try it out because it's not always going to be the same in 6 months from now. There's going to be a lot more competition. Everyone's going to be using AI in 6 months, not in the beta silence now. You have to take action. You have to explore these opportunities. If you knew about Amazon, would you buy it now or would you buy it 10 years ago? If at both periods you knew it was a good benefit. I'm asking you guys, what decision do you want to make for your future? Because you're already holding the unique value proposition that most platforms, kind of lack. And I'm giving that to you through Ascend, a clear philosophical edge with technical response to your customers that actually does the work. And therefore, you don't need to send 200 DMs to people and then get on 50 sales calls and then handle 10 clients every single day, wearing down your time, your energy to scale. AI does that work for you. And so if we extract, if we sharpen, and if we create leverage using AI, there's no limit to how much money you can make. That's my true invite for the end of this talk today, guys. I want to invite you to the platform. At least just join the free space, my community, where you can learn how to use it, learn how to use AI, come back for the podcast. Obviously, follow, and subscribe for whatever platform you're seeing this on. I care about you guys. I love you. I hope that you have a great night. I'll see you back next time. And I got to say it, as always, I'm rooting for you. Take care.